Seniors, stop refrigerating these 8 foods. You're ruining their nutrients. You wake up every morning with that familiar stiffness in your joints. Reach for your reading glasses that seem to get thicker every year. And wonder why your energy levels aren't what they used to be. Despite taking all those expensive supplements your doctor recommended, you've been doing everything right. Or so you thought. You're eating your fruits and vegetables, staying hydrated, and following all the dietary advice you've read about. But somehow you still feel like your body is working against you. That afternoon fatigue hits like a brick wall, your memory feels foggy, and those aches and pains seem to be getting worse instead of better. You've probably spent hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars on organic produce, carefully selecting the best fruits and vegetables, only to come home and immediately tuck them away in your refrigerator, thinking you're preserving their goodness. But what if I told you that this very act of refrigeration, something you've been taught to do your entire adult life, is actually destroying the most powerful nutrients that could be helping you feel decades younger? What if the reason you're not seeing the health improvements you desperately want isn't because the foods don't work, but because you're unknowingly sabotaging their healing potential before they ever reach your plate? The frustration you feel when you look in the mirror and see someone who looks older and more tired than you feel inside isn't your fault, and it's certainly not irreversible. There's a simple storage secret that most people over 65 have never learned, and once you understand it, you'll be amazed at how quickly your energy returns, how much clearer your thinking becomes, and how much better your body feels overall. I know this might sound too good to be true, especially if you've tried countless approaches before without success, but stick with me because what I'm about to share with you has been backed by nutritional science and has helped thousands of seniors reclaim their vitality simply by changing where they store 8 specific foods. Before we dive into these game-changing storage tips, I want you to do me a favor and hit that subscribe button right now and make sure to give this video a thumbs up, because this information could literally add years of quality time to your life. Also, be sure to check out the first link below this video to learn about a breakthrough product that can amplify these benefits and help you address your health concerns twice as fast as using proper food storage alone. Let me start with the first food that you need to stop refrigerating immediately, and that's tomatoes. If you're like most people, you probably grab those beautiful red tomatoes at the grocery store and immediately put them in your refrigerator crisper drawer, thinking you're extending their life and maintaining their nutritional value. But here's what's really happening inside that cold environment. The cellular structure of tomatoes begins to break down in a way that destroys their most powerful compound, lycopene. Lycopene is what gives tomatoes their vibrant red color, but more importantly, it's one of nature's most potent antioxidants, specifically designed to protect your cells from the kind of damage that accelerates aging and increases your risk of serious health problems.
Quercetin.
When tomatoes are stored below 55 degrees Fahrenheit, which is the typical temperature of your refrigerator, the enzymes responsible for converting precursor compounds into lycopene essentially shut down. This means that not only are you not getting the lycopene that was already present, but you're also stopping the natural ripening process that would create even more of this beneficial compound. Studies have shown that tomatoes stored at room temperature for just a few days can have up to 40% more lycopene than those immediately refrigerated. Furthermore, the cold temperature damages the cell walls in a way that makes whatever lycopene remains much harder for your body to absorb and utilize. Think about it this way: you could be eating the same amount of tomatoes but getting less than half the protective benefits simply because of where you stored them. The proper way to store tomatoes is on your kitchen counter, away from direct sunlight, where they can continue ripening and developing their full nutritional potential. You'll know they're ready when they give slightly to gentle pressure and have that rich, sweet tomato aroma. What's fascinating is that different varieties of tomatoes respond differently to proper storage, with heirloom varieties often showing even more dramatic increases in lycopene and other antioxidants when allowed to ripen naturally at room temperature. Cherry tomatoes, for instance, can develop significantly higher levels of vitamin C and folate when stored properly, while larger beefsteak varieties tend to concentrate their lycopene more intensely in the gel around the seeds. The second food that's losing its healing power in your refrigerator is garlic, and this one might surprise you because garlic seems like such a hearty, long-lasting food. When you store whole garlic bulbs in your refrigerator, the cold, humid environment actually encourages sprouting and can cause the cloves to become rubbery and bitter. But the real tragedy is what happens to garlic's most important compound, allicin. Allicin is the sulfur compound responsible for garlic's distinctive smell and its incredible health benefits, including its ability to support cardiovascular health, boost immune function, and even help regulate blood sugar levels. The problem with refrigeration is that it disrupts the enzymatic process that creates allicin when garlic is crushed or chopped. When garlic is stored properly at room temperature in a well-ventilated area, the bulbs maintain their firm texture and optimal enzyme activity. This means that when you crush a clove to release its oils, you get the maximum allicin production. Refrigerated garlic, on the other hand, often has compromised enzyme activity, which means you might be getting only a fraction of the beneficial allicin even when you prepare it correctly. The ideal storage for garlic is in a cool, dry place with good air circulation, like a mesh bag or basket in your pantry, where it can last for months while maintaining its full potency. Never store garlic in plastic bags or airtight containers, as this traps moisture and accelerates sprouting and decay. Research from the University of California has shown that properly stored garlic can maintain up to 90% of its allicin-producing potential for up to 6 months, while refrigerated garlic loses this capacity within just a few weeks. The enzyme allinase, which converts allinase when garlic is chopped, is particularly sensitive to cold and humidity, making room temperature storage absolutely crucial for maximizing garlic's therapeutic benefits. Additionally, garlic stored at proper temperatures develops more complex flavor compounds and maintains higher concentrations of other beneficial sulfur compounds like ajonin and disulfide. Now let's talk about onions, another allium family member that suffers greatly from improper refrigeration. Like garlic, onions contain sulfur compounds that provide significant health benefits, including anti-inflammatory properties and immune system support. When you store whole, uncut onions in your refrigerator, the humidity causes them to become soft and moldy much faster than they would at room temperature. The cold also breaks down the cell structure in a way that reduces the concentration of quercetin, a powerful flavonoid that helps protect your blood vessels and supports healthy circulation. Properly stored onions should be kept in a cool, dry, well-ventilated area, ideally in a mesh bag or basket that allows air to circulate around them. They should never be stored near potatoes, as potatoes give off moisture and gases that cause onions to spoil faster. When stored correctly, onions can last for several weeks to a few months, depending on the variety, while maintaining their nutritional integrity and sharp, clean flavor. The only time you should refrigerate onions is after you've cut into them, and even then they should be used within a few days to prevent nutrient loss and bacterial growth. Different onion varieties have varying storage requirements and nutritional profiles, with yellow onions typically containing the highest levels of quercetin, while red onions provide additional antioxidants that have powerful antioxidant properties. Sweet onions, like Vidalia or Walla Walla, have higher water content and shorter storage life, but when kept properly at room temperature, they maintain better flavor and higher levels of beneficial compounds than when refrigerated. The sulfur compounds in onions, including quercetin and organosulfur compounds, work synergistically with other nutrients in your diet, particularly when the onions are stored and prepared correctly to preserve these delicate compounds. Let me pause here for just a moment because I want to make sure you're getting the full value from this video. How many times have you felt like you're talking to a wall when you try to share health concerns with friends or family? Like they just don't understand what it's like to wake up feeling older than your years, or to worry about whether your mind and body will be able to keep up with everything you want to do. If you're nodding your head right now, I want you to know that you're not alone, and this community understands exactly what you're going through. Take a moment right now and leave a comment below saying something like this: "I'm taking control of my health one storage tip at a time." When you share that comment, two important things happen. First, you're making a public commitment to yourself to implement these changes, which dramatically increases your likelihood of success. And second, you're connecting with other people who are on the same journey and can offer support and encouragement. Reading and responding to your comments is honestly one of the highlights of my day because it reminds me why this work is so important. Now let's get back to transforming how you store your food for maximum health benefits. The fourth food that needs to come out of your refrigerator immediately is bread, particularly if you're buying quality whole grain varieties. I know this goes against everything you've been taught about preventing mold and extending shelf life, but refrigeration actually does more harm than good when it comes to bread. The cold temperature causes the starch molecules in bread to recrystallize in a process called retrogradation, which makes the bread go stale up to 6 times faster than it would at room temperature. This isn't just about texture and taste, though those certainly suffer. When bread becomes stale through refrigeration, it also loses much of its digestibility, and the bioavailability of its nutrients decreases significantly. The B vitamins that are so crucial for energy production and nervous system function become bound up in these crystallized starches and are much harder for your digestive system to extract and utilize. If you're eating whole grain bread for its fiber and nutrient content, refrigeration is essentially undoing many of those benefits. The proper way to store bread is in a cool, dry place, like a bread box or pantry, where it will maintain its texture and nutritional value for several days. If you need to store bread for longer periods, freezing is a much better option than refrigeration, as the freezing process doesn't cause the same starch recrystallization that refrigeration does. Coffee is the 5th item that needs to leave your refrigerator, and this mistake is costing you not just flavor but also the powerful antioxidants that make coffee such a beneficial beverage. When coffee beans or ground coffee are stored in the refrigerator, they're exposed to moisture, odors, and temperature fluctuations every time you open the refrigerator door. Coffee is incredibly porous and absorbs these odors readily, which not only affects the taste but can also introduce compounds that interfere with coffee's natural antioxidants. The humidity in your refrigerator causes coffee to lose its oils and aromatic compounds, which are where many of the health benefits are concentrated. These oils contain compounds like chlorogenic acid, which has been shown to help regulate blood sugar and support cardiovascular health. When these oils are damaged by improper storage, you lose access to these protective benefits. Additionally, the condensation that forms when cold coffee is exposed to warmer air can actually cause premature aging and rancidity. Coffee should be stored in an airtight container in a cool, dark place, like your pantry or a dedicated coffee cabinet. Whole beans maintain their quality much longer than pre-ground coffee, so if possible, buy whole beans and grind them just before brewing. This ensures you're getting the maximum antioxidant content and the best possible flavor from every cup. Make sure you're getting the most out of this video by hitting that like button right now. Your engagement helps this important information reach other people who need it, and I appreciate every single like and share. Potatoes are our 6th item, and this one might be the most surprising of all because so many people automatically assume that vegetables belong in the refrigerator. When potatoes are stored in cold temperatures, something called cold-induced sweetening occurs. This happens because the cold converts the potatoes' starches into sugars, which might sound like a good thing, but it's actually quite problematic. These excess sugars can react with amino acids during cooking to form acrylamide, a compound that has been linked to various health concerns. Beyond this chemical change, cold storage also affects the potatoes' nutritional profile. Potatoes are excellent sources of vitamin C, potassium, and vitamin B6, but cold storage can significantly reduce these levels. The vitamin C content is particularly vulnerable to cold damage, and since vitamin C is crucial for immune function, collagen synthesis, and iron absorption, this nutrient loss can have real impacts on your health. Potatoes should be stored in a cool, dark, well-ventilated place like a pantry or cellar, ideally at temperatures between 45 and 50 degrees Fahrenheit. They should never be stored in plastic bags, as this traps moisture and promotes sprouting and decay. A paper bag or basket that allows air circulation is ideal. When stored properly, potatoes can last for several weeks while maintaining their nutritional value and proper starch content. Melons represent our 7th category of foods that lose significant nutritional value in refrigeration, and this includes watermelons, cantaloupes, honeydew, and other similar fruits. Whole, uncut melons are still alive and continuing their ripening process even after harvest, which means they're still developing sugars, vitamins, and antioxidants. When you immediately refrigerate a melon, you halt this natural ripening process, preventing the fruit from reaching its full nutritional potential. Research has shown that melons stored at room temperature can increase their lycopene content by up to 40% and their beta-carotene levels by up to 139% compared to immediately refrigerated melons. These compounds are crucial for eye health, immune function, and cellular protection. The cold temperature also affects the fruit's texture and flavor development, often resulting in mealy or bland fruit even when it appears ripe. Melons should be stored at room temperature until they're fully ripe, which you can determine by checking for a sweet aroma at the stem end and a slight give when pressed gently at the blossom end. Only after the melon is fully ripe should it be refrigerated, and even then it should be consumed within a few days for optimal nutrient content and flavor. Finally, our eighth food item is bananas, and this mistake is incredibly common because bananas turn brown so quickly at room temperature that most people panic and put them in the refrigerator. However, bananas are tropical fruits that are extremely sensitive to cold temperatures, and refrigeration actually damages them in multiple ways. The cold temperature kills the enzymes responsible for the final ripening process, which means that nutrients like vitamin B6, vitamin C, and antioxidants never reach their full concentration. The peel turns brown or black in the refrigerator, not because the fruit is ripening, but because the cold damages the cell structure of the skin. Meanwhile, the fruit inside often remains hard and starchy instead of developing the natural sugars and softer texture that make bananas so digestible and nutritious. The resistant starch in unripe bananas has some health benefits, but most people prefer the easier digestibility and higher vitamin content of properly ripened bananas. Bananas should be stored at room temperature, away from other fruits if you want to slow their ripening, or near other fruits if you want to speed up the process. Once they're ripe to your preference, you can refrigerate them for a few days, but understand that the peels will darken and the quality will start to decline. Here's what I want you to understand about all of these foods. Proper storage isn't just about preventing spoilage or maintaining flavor, though those things are certainly important. It's about respecting the fact that these foods are living systems that continue to develop their nutritional content even after harvest. When we interrupt these natural processes with inappropriate storage, we're essentially throwing away the very nutrients that we're hoping to gain from eating these foods in the first place. Think about the money you've spent on organic produce, the time you've invested in meal planning and preparation, and the hope you've placed in these foods to help you feel better and stay healthy. Doesn't it make sense to store them in a way that maximizes their potential to deliver on those promises? What many people don't realize is that nutrient degradation from improper storage can begin within hours of bringing food home from the store. The enzymatic processes that create and maintain beneficial compounds are incredibly sensitive to temperature, humidity, and light exposure. When we understand this sensitivity and work with it instead of against it, we can actually enhance the nutritional value of our food beyond what it was when we first purchased it. This is particularly important for seniors because our bodies become less efficient at absorbing and utilizing nutrients as we age, which means we need to be even more strategic about maximizing the bioavailability of the foods we eat. The digestive changes that naturally occur as we get older mean that every nutrient counts more than it did when we were younger, making proper food storage not just helpful but essential for maintaining optimal health. Another crucial factor that most people overlook is the interaction between different foods during storage. Certain fruits and vegetables produce ethylene gas as they ripen, which can either accelerate or interfere with the ripening process of nearby foods. Understanding these interactions can help you create storage arrangements that optimize nutrient development across multiple foods simultaneously. For example, storing apples near your tomatoes can actually help increase the lycopene content in the tomatoes, while storing them near leafy greens will cause those greens to yellow and lose nutrients faster. This knowledge allows you to create synergistic storage environments where foods actually help each other reach their nutritional potential, rather than competing or interfering with each other's development. The timing of when you purchase foods also plays a critical role in how well they respond to proper storage techniques. Foods that are picked at peak ripeness and stored correctly will always outperform foods that were harvested too early and then subjected to artificial ripening processes during shipping. When possible, seek out locally grown produce that has been allowed to ripen naturally on the plant or tree, as these foods will have the most active enzymatic systems and will respond best to optimal storage conditions. The difference in both nutritional content and flavor can be dramatic when you start with high-quality, properly harvested foods, and then store them using the techniques I've outlined. The changes you can make starting today are simple but powerful. Clear out space in your pantry or on your kitchen counter for tomatoes, garlic, onions, potatoes, and melons. Set up a proper storage system for your coffee and bread that protects them from moisture and temperature fluctuations. Allow your bananas to ripen fully at room temperature before deciding whether to refrigerate them. These aren't difficult changes, but the cumulative impact on your health can be profound. When you're getting 40% more lycopene from your tomatoes, maximum allicin from your garlic, and full nutrient development from your melons, your body has access to significantly more of the protective compounds it needs to function optimally. One thing I want to emphasize is the importance of creating consistent storage environments in your home. Temperature fluctuations can be just as damaging as improper storage temperatures. If your kitchen gets very warm during the day and cool at night, consider finding storage areas that maintain more stable temperatures, such as a closet or basement area that stays consistently cool but not cold. Many seniors have found success creating dedicated storage zones in their homes, with different areas optimized for different types of foods. This might seem like extra work initially, but once you establish these systems, they become second nature and require very little ongoing effort. The key is to think of food storage as an extension of your commitment to health rather than as an additional chore. It's also worth noting that the quality of the food you start with makes a significant difference in how well it responds to proper storage. Locally grown, in-season produce that hasn't traveled long distances will always respond better to optimal storage conditions than produce that has already been stressed by long shipping times and multiple temperature changes. If you have access to farmers markets or local growers, you'll often find that their produce not only tastes better but also maintains its nutritional value longer when stored properly. Building relationships with local growers can also give you insights into the best varieties for nutrition and storage, as well as timing your purchases for when foods are at their peak quality. I want to acknowledge something that I know many of you are feeling right now. The journey to better health, especially as we get older, can feel overwhelming and sometimes discouraging. You've probably tried so many different approaches, spent money on products that didn't deliver the results you hoped for, and sometimes wondered if it's even possible to feel significantly better than you do right now. I want you to know that those feelings are completely valid and you're not alone in having them. But I also want you to know that small, consistent changes really do add up to significant improvements over time. This channel exists because I believe that everyone deserves to feel energetic, clear-minded, and comfortable in their body, regardless of age. Every video I create, every piece of research I share, and every interaction we have in the comments is focused on giving you practical, science-based tools that you can use to improve your quality of life. When you subscribe to this channel, you're not just getting access to more videos like this one, though I do publish new content every week that builds on these foundational principles. You're becoming part of a community of people who refuse to accept that feeling tired, achy, and mentally foggy is just a normal part of aging. You're joining a group of individuals who understand that small changes consistently applied can lead to dramatic improvements in how you feel every single day. I read every comment that comes in, and I use your questions and experiences to shape future content that addresses the real challenges you're facing. This isn't about quick fixes or miracle cures. It's about understanding how your body works and giving it exactly what it needs to function at its best. Before you go, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your engagement helps this information reach other people who need it, and every subscription tells me that this work is making a difference in people's lives. Also, don't forget to check out the first link below this video to learn about a breakthrough product that can help you address your health concerns twice as fast as using proper food storage alone. The combination of optimal nutrition from properly stored foods and targeted nutritional support can be incredibly powerful for people who are serious about reclaiming their health and vitality. Remember, taking care of yourself isn't selfish or vain. It's an investment in your ability to enjoy life, spend quality time with the people you love, and pursue the activities and experiences that bring you joy. Every small step you take toward better health is a gift to yourself and to everyone who cares about you. Start with these 8 simple storage changes today and pay attention to how you feel over the next few weeks. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised by the difference it makes.